Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, slap some eyes on an inanimate object. We're ranking rare characters from the Nintendo 64 era. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how's it going?
It's going great. We're really enjoying our trip to Paris.
That's right. We are still, if you can hear it, we're not getting away with anything.
That's right.
Like, for example, running the air conditioner while we record a podcast because it's too warm in Los Angeles, even at night.
No, we were on the Concorde.
That's right.
To Paris, but we are now enjoying Paris, and if you're hearing a hum, which hopefully you're not.
Right. It is a musician.
Yes.
Who is serenading us with a
old French tune.
An old French tune that sounds like the low hum of an air conditioner.
You could really go to sleep by it.
Speaking of things you can really go to sleep by, you would like to borrow my copy of Sonic Forces for the Nintendo Switch. It's easy. All you gotta do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. And all those words are spelled the way you would expect them to be spelled. And then I send you my copy of Sonic Forces.
Return postage included.
That's right. And look, while I would like everyone to actually play the game, you don't have to. You want to feed it to your dog? Just make sure you retrieve it from your dog. However that works.
You want to put it on your mantle, like a shrine.
That's right.
Light a votive every night.
Ooh, votive. We don't always flex on vocabulary on this show.
No, but when in Paris.
Yeah. Here's another thing you can do. You can participate in our Donkey Kong 3 high score tournament.
We failed on Tuesday to say that you should get your high scores into us by August 23rd.
Yes. So one of our listeners was tweeting at us this last week about their inability to get past a certain section of the game, saying it has become impossible at this point. And so I will share a little tip. There does reach a point where you have to jump in the air while firing in order to force Donkey Kong up even further. That if you are standing still on the ground and firing upward, it's not powerful enough. You need to jump as you shoot.
Also, don't forget that you can win socks if you are the high score.
Yeah. Mark got these socks for us, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So there are real stakes here. Like, this matters.
Another thing that really matters.
Yes, please.
Super Mario Maker 2 levels.
Yes.
I think we're both loving Super Mario Maker 2. We would love to play more of your guys' levels. Thank you to everyone who has shared them so far.
Mm-hmm. I'm currently working on a level that is based around the Super Mario 3D World theme, and it keeps giving you cat suits, and it is just about climbing up stuff as the cat.
I love it.
So you get to be a kitty cat.
Also, if you haven't made any levels yet, but you want to share your maker code,
send
them our way.
Yeah, we would love it. Email us nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com, or this is the kind of thing that you can tweet us as well at NinCartSociety. All right, Mark, are you today's topic is a little strange, right? We got an email from Riley. Riley says, hi guys, I'm a fan and I have some ideas for an episode. What's your favorite Pokemon? This is where the email starts. It's not what we're doing. He says, aesthetically and statistically, mine is Arceus. He says, another idea, here we go, is your favorite N64 game. Mine is also the Banjo-Kazooie line of games. He likes Banjo-Kazooie, but maybe prefers Nuts and Bolts. That got us thinking. Banjo-Kazooie, favorite Nintendo 64 games. Rare really went on an epic little run on the Nintendo 64 where they were putting out a bunch of games that are more or less synonymous with Nintendo, even though they are now, owned by Microsoft. So we thought it would be fun to talk about all the characters that they created during the Nintendo 64 era and rank them.
Absolutely.
So will Banjo appear high in our rankings? Probably.
Let's get into it.
All right, let's Let's do it. Let's get into it.
But before we get into it,
Yep.
so we
What?
chose not to do
Yes.
every character from every game that Rare made for the Nintendo 64 because we just don't have strong feelings about, I was going to say Jet Set Radio, but that can't possibly be right.
Jet Grind?
No. What is
Jet Force Gemini.
Jet Force Gemini?
Yeah, we don't know Jet Force Gemini. We don't know Blast Corps. So
I don't think there are any characters in Blast Corps other than cars.
cars.
Yeah.
Okay. So look. Those characters or vehicles are being ruled out.
Killer Instinct Gold? No.
Well, so here's the thing. Killer Instinct was actually more a product of the Super Nintendo era, was out in arcades. So even though they would have grown the roster during that time, we're going to say no Killer Instinct characters.
So if you want to include them mentally on your own remembrance of this ranking,
Right?
just low at the bottom. That's where they would be.
Just super low at the bottom, except Jago, Fulgor, and Glacius are all right at the top. They're like 1, 2, 3.
Otherwise,
Also Saberwolf, he's up there too. And maybe Spinal. TJ Combo's okay. And Orchid, she's good. Anyway, so basically what we're the character pool that we are pulling from here is restricted to kind of just a couple games, right? We're talking Banjo-Kazooie, we're talking Banjo-Tooie, we're talking Diddy Kong Racing, Perfect Dark, and
Conker's Bad Fur Day,
Day.
and Donkey Kong 64.
And Donkey Kong 64, yes. So we need to land on this. You had suggested maybe we just do playable characters.
Well, okay, because we're already eliminating so many other characters from the ranking, I don't know if we need to put any more structure on it.
Sure. So, and I think the only characters that we are including in here that aren't really playable characters, we've got Mumbo,
who's like a boss from Diddy Kong Racing.
No, so I mean he may be a boss from Diddy Kong Racing, but he is primarily a witch doctor in Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, okay.
You give him the Mumbo's tokens, and he transforms you in each level into something different.
Gotcha.
So we've got Mumbo, we've got Gruntilda from Banjo-Kazooie. We also have Tootie, Banjo's sister from Banjo-Kazooie. And we've got Whizpig, who is the boss from Diddy Kong Racing.
The ultimate bad guy, right?
The chief bad guy. We also have both of the hidden characters, TT and Drumstick from Diddy Kong Racing. But I think everyone else is regular selectable character or
So I mean I'll defer to you.
Yeah.
If you feel strongly about Mumbo, Whizpig, or Gruntilda, I'm fine removing them.
In
Tootie, I guess.
So let's keep them in here.
Okay.
Just because I like Mumbo a lot. And I would feel bad if we removed him. Also, Whizpig is a giant pig. He's got to be 13 feet tall.
It's a great name.
And he rides like a rocket, Mark.
So did we list everybody?
No.
Should we just do it real fast then?
Yeah, go for it.
So starting from the top, just to give you a visual, these are written on sticky notes.
Yeah, we haven't used any amiibo in this.
That's right.
We have not created individual standees. This is... are we throwing this one together last minute? Maybe. But I think it's going to be fun, Mark.
Timber.
Yes.
Gruntilda. Or Timber's from Diddy Kong Racing.
Right, he's a tiger.
Gruntilda from Banjo-Kazooie.
She's a witch.
Tootie from Banjo-Kazooie. Whizpig from Diddy Kong Racing. TT from Diddy Kong Racing.
He's a clock.
Chunky Kong from DK64. Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark. Banjo from Banjo-Kazooie. Kazooie from Banjo-Kazooie. Tip Tup from Diddy Kong Racing.
He's a turtle.
Drumstick from Diddy Kong Racing.
He's a rooster.
Crunch from Diddy Kong Racing.
He's a kremling.
Tiny Kong from DK64. Lanky Kong from DK64, Mumbo from Banjo-Kazooie, Pipsy from Diddy Kong Racing, and Bumper from Diddy Kong Racing. So a lot of Diddy Kong Racing.
Right, a mouse and a badger, respectively.
Did we say Conker? Is he written here somewhere? I think we missed him.
Did we miss Conker?
I think we did.
Then I missed Conker because he was on my list to write. I'm writing him down. Conker from Diddy Kong Racing.
And Conker's Bad Fur Day.
That's right. And the Game Boy Color Conker game as well. Should we let's talk a little bit about Conker before we get into everything else, because he has got the weirdest identity of any of these characters.
So I don't really like rude dudes.
Right, and Conker, man, in Conker's Bad Fur Day, he's a rude dude. He is a hard drinker, hard lover. He dies and goes to hell.
Those types of characters just like wear thin for me really quickly. I don't really like whatever the name of the cigar smoking talking baby is in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like it's fine for like
Baby Herman.
Baby
Yeah,
Herman.
yeah.
Like I feel like it's fine for a quick one note joke.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard to build an entire game around a character like that, or an entire story around a character like that.
So the thing that's interesting about Conker is that in the Game Boy game, and in Diddy Kong Racing, where he appears, he does not have any of that attitude. He is, and the character was originally envisioned as just like a cute mascot, for a like simple platforming game. And as the development went on, it became clear that like they didn't have a specific vision for this character, and so they just changed him completely, basically made him Deadpool, and made a different kind of game, an M-rated game on the Nintendo 64, where, yeah, there were ratings at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, like, if he's most famous for being that version of Conker, but he has two other appearances not being that character.
I also, Conker is also not, like, the most aesthetically displeasing of all of the characters here to me, so I'm not ready to, like, pass judgment on Conker quite yet.
Right.
But I do think he's a really interesting case, because a lot of these, and I haven't played a ton of Diddy Kong Racing, but I really only have room in my heart for one kart racer, and it'll forever be Mario Kart.
Mod Nation Racers.
Yeah. Garfield Kart. But a lot of these characters are Diddy Kong Racing characters, and they, from what I can tell in my experience with them, kind of just fall into the 1990s rare aesthetic of, like, here's a character who's maybe muscular when they shouldn't be, and also has really big eyes. I'm thinking, of course, about oh, darn it. What's the name of the crocodile?
No. So, are you thinking Crunch?
Crunch, yeah.
So Crunch doesn't. There are other Kremlings that look too beefy, right? But I don't know. He's got like kind of a dumpy build.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Like you're maybe thinking of like Krusha.
Oh, maybe,
or
yeah.
like one of those other like named Kremlings. No, this guy's like real bottom heavy. Has the look of what is that Hanna-Barbera crocodile character?
I don't know. I mean, I can picture who you're talking about, but I don't know his name.
I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
And
should I be talking while you're looking it up, or okay? So the Diddy Kong Racing characters, I just don't necessarily feel that strong about, because I don't know that there's anything to them other than just like their aesthetics.
Wally Gator. He's got a purple hat, and he's got like a collar like he's wearing a shirt, but he's not wearing a shirt.
He's just wearing a collar.
He's just wearing a collar and like shirt cuffs. That's really weird. That is a weird design. Okay, well, so how do you want to approach this? Because we've got, by my count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We've got 18 characters on the board here, and a bunch of them are Diddy Kong Racing characters. So maybe we should just go through the Diddy Kong Racing characters and do a quick like do they move on to like be included in? Because look, we're ranking these, but I think it's going to be like, here's the bottom half, and here are the ones that we actually like.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take the Diddy Kong Racing characters, and we can just quick talk about what they are, why they might be interesting, and let's keep Conker and Banjo obviously out of it.
Do you want to include Wizpig in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
TT. Well, okay. So, and we'll save TT and Drumstick for and Wizpig. We'll save all them for later. So that just leaves us with Pipsy, Bumper, Timber, Crunch, and Tip Top.
Oh, sorry. And real quick, if you're wondering why we don't have, like Dixie Kong or Diddy Kong or Donkey here, we're not including characters that were created before the N64 era.
That's right. So this is strictly an exercise in characters created during the Nintendo 64 era. So a lot of these guys are pretty forgettable. But I tell you what, Tip Top the Turtle, he's one of the like light, speedier, the tighter handling, but low, high speed, but quick acceleration characters that I used to use a lot in Diddy Kong Racing. So like, yeah, maybe they are all kind of like expendable and forgettable, but he's a cute little turtle. So I'd like to at least save him from elimination here.
Well, he is a pretty cute turtle, but I actually think the one that I think is the cutest is Bumper. The badger.
Bumper's a badger.
Because he's wearing these like Flash Gordon type gloves, utility belt, and then helmet with goggles, hard hat with goggles. He's cute, is what I'm saying.
He is cute. All right, so let's save Bumper and Tip Top, but we are going to effectively eliminate Timber, who is a tiger, which is cute, but he looks basically just like Daniel Tiger from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Crunch, who Mark has pulled up a picture now, and you can see that he's very bottom heavy. But he is wearing like a leather vest or something. It's confusing. And Pipsy, who is a little mouse.
Pipsy, it's difficult for me to express how much I hate the name Pipsy.
Try, please.
There's something that is so grating about it to me. So like trying hard to be cute.
Yes.
That I think really it's like the worst of Rare.
Yeah.
The name, the character design, Pipsy drives me crazy.
Also, and look, we're not going to go off on too many like Anglophobic rants here, but Pipsy is also like off-puttingly English, right? Like the whole thing. I just don't want it.
The other one of these we haven't really talked about yet, but that I find infuriating is TT.
Right. So he's the time trial clock. He starts the game as just a time trial clock, so that like when you're doing the time trial, like his ghost is what you race against, and then eventually he becomes a character that you unlock. Still, no matter what, he's just a clock.
You know when you're like driving around the city and
the city of Los Angeles,
any city really.
Sure, okay.
I feel like this is universal. Okay. And there's a dentist office that spells like kid dental care, and the care is spelled with a K.
Yes.
Like kid. Yeah. And they have, generic art of happy teeth and children playing and maybe an alarm clock, because TT's design is exactly like that generic type of like clip art type design.
Yeah, that is true. It's the like happy foot, sad foot sign in Los Angeles that is, it's like being torn down or something like it's
a foot clinic.
Yes. I was also going to use the phrase foot clinic
because that's what it's called.
Okay,
I think
great.
It's called the Silver Lake Foot Clinic.
There we go.
So on Sunset Boulevard, they have this famous to LA rotating sign where one side is a foot that's happy and the other side is a foot that's like beat up in a cartoonish way, like he has like a bandage across his foot head and is on crutches.
Right. And if you're saying, how could a foot be on crutches? Yes, this foot has arms and legs. No one understands it. Everyone loves it. And it's going away. But that is a much more like specific or like interesting design than the kind of tooth character that you're imagining, or TT clock.
Yeah,
which is just a clock with eyes.
So it's a real. I mean, he has hands and feet as well.
Yeah, and like a hat. I mean, who cares?
But it's a real toss-up for me between TT and Pipsy, which is just like bottom of the barrel, not even trying characters.
Counterpoint drumstick. Now, this is like a maverick rooster who is like way better at racing than all the rest of these kids.
This is one cool bird.
That's right. And I'm going to say he moves on to the next. Mark just showed me a picture of him. He's wearing overalls, and he's kind of like giving us the finger guns.
Mm-hmm. He sucks, but high up on the list. He's
so cool, man.
He's like went from being so stupid to being amazing.
Yeah, he goes all the way around.
Yeah.
To the fact that we like him now. We like him now. So we're gonna save him till later. And then Whizpig. We talked a little bit about Whizpig. He is the big evil pig who is in charge of like ruining the island or something. And he regularly rides around on like a rocket while you have to race him in like a plane or a hovercraft or whatever.
I realize a lot of these characters, again, I'm looking at a picture of Whizpig, and he is a pig wearing like a purple jumpsuit with a cape.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of boring Ganon.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these characters, a lot of these rare characters, especially in Diddy Kong Racing, have the dimensions of like Nelson from The Simpsons.
Okay, sure. Just too much shoulders?
I don't with like a little like pot belly.
Yeah.
I don't really like Whizpig.
All right, let's get rid of him. So long, Whizpig.
Does he go with Pipsy and TT?
He does. So the only Diddy Kong Racing characters that we will be considering as we go into the finals, whatever that means, is Tip Top, Drumstick, and Bumper. A turtle, a rooster, and a badger, respectively. All right, let's talk about the Donkey Kong 64 characters. So we're not talking about Donkey Kong. We are not talking about Diddy Kong. We are talking about Lanky, Tiny, and Chunky. Which of these characters do you like? Also, can you remember where we ranked them in our Ranking the Kongs episode?
I can't. I think they were all in like the mysterious middle, pretty much.
That's probably
middle
right.
to low. I think I like Chunky the best.
I think I like Lanky the best.
Okay.
I think
Lanky definitely seems like he has the most utility.
He has the most utility and is also kind of the most unique of them. Like, you could make an argument that, like, Tiny Kong is basically Dixie with big pants, and Chunky is basically Kitty Kong, right?
Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, Tiny, I have no love for.
She's gone. See ya, Tiny.
I won't.
This is the most chaotic ranking we've ever done because we're eliminating people from the ranking.
So I kind of want to keep both Lanky and Chunky. I'm not ready to get rid of either of them. Somebody I am ready to get rid of is Mumbo.
Whoa, why?
I think it's an unfortunate racial stereotype
that's fair.
Doesn't need to be up for consideration.
That is fair. I do like his functionality in the game. I like the character design, like the big like skull head, I think is very cool. But you're right. He's a witch doctor. And, we don't need to embrace that.
One character who's still up for consideration to be ranked, I think is how this is working out, is Joanna Dark, which is, I find a really difficult one to know what to do because she's such a different character from everybody else on the list.
Everyone else here is an anthropomorphic animal.
And they're like real goofy and super cute. Mm-hmm. And that's not what they were going for with Joanna Dark at all.
Right. Let me ask you about your experience playing Perfect Dark.
I've actually never played... Well, I don't think that's true. I've played the multiplayer of Perfect Dark. I played much more Perfect Dark Zero for the Xbox 360.
Yeah. Well, can you tell me about her character from that? Because I am not a Perfect Dark person, so I don't really know what her deal is.
My memory is that she's pretty much just like a cool spy.
Cool spy.
I think of her as a mix between Samus from Metroid and James Bond.
Right. And I mean, that's not totally far off, just because she is basically a fill-in for James Bond when they were like, we want to make another GoldenEye game, but we can't because we don't have the license forever. So here we go. Joanna Dark, Perfect Dark is now its own thing. But yeah, I will agree that she should be included in our like final ranking of our favorite characters here. But I don't really know what to do with her.
It's difficult because like, how do you measure Joanna Dark against Kazooie?
Yeah, it's very strange.
There's such like different things. I guess we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Tootie.
Yeah. Kill her. Get rid of her.
Okay. Fine with me.
All right, great. Tootie, of course, being Banjo's, I believe, little sister, but maybe that's not as established as I think it is. Yeah, I mean, she's kind of a non-character and has the weird. She dresses exactly like Tiny Kong, like the two big clothes, where you're like, guys, it's 1995, not 1991. Am I right?
Oh wow.
Which kind of leaves us with Banjo, Kazooie, and Gruntilda from Banjo-Kazooie. And I will go to bat for Gruntilda. She is the witch and the main antagonist in the game, and she's cool in that she speaks in riddles and in rhyme, and is just a very like well-written and interesting character.
I think the other thing I like about Gruntilda is that, you know, Rare has a very specific aesthetic.
Yes.
And I think it works well for Gruntilda.
Yeah, totally. And that, like, having her in there just, like, sets the tone for that world incredibly well. That it's not just, like, here's a super cute thing. It's, like, here's a cute thing with, like, an intentionally ugly twist. And I think she typifies that.
Yeah, I think really, for the most part, all of the characters that we have left in here do the Rare look very well.
Okay, who do we got left here?
We have Conker, Joanna Dark, Gruntilda, Kazooie, Chunky Kong, Lanky Kong, Tip Top, Gruntilda, Banjo. Did I say Gruntilda twice?
I think so.
Bumper, and then Drumstick. I will say the one that I don't understand why he's still here is Tip Top.
Because I like turtles. He's gone. He's gone. He's been eliminated. All right, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Top 9, weird. And that's not a top 10, but Mark already took Tip Top.
I mean, I guess we could keep Tip Top as number
10.
All right, that's fair. Top 10, Tip Top coming in at number 10.
Coming in at number 10, Tip Top. Okay, so let's take our least favorite characters from this and make like sort of a bottom third.
I think we should do that. Before we do that, can we talk a little bit about, because we have not really talked about Banjo or Kazooie. A little weird to me to separate them into two separate characters. Like, I understand why.
Yeah,
but I always think of them as
one
singular
character.
entity,
and that they are, you know, a singular entity in the game. You're basically controlling them together, and that is obviously they appear together in Smash Brothers, or they will when they finally come out. But like they are separate, like they have separate personalities. And separate abilities, they just always like do them in tandem.
So if you are not familiar with the characters or not familiar with the names, Banjo is the bear, and Kazooie is the bird who sits in like a backpack on Banjo's back.
Lives inside Banjo's backpack, and will help him like fly, or peck with his beak, or sometimes his legs will come out of the backpack and run around that way.
And in the first two Banjo-Kazooie games, it's used like in a really interesting way. It's kind of like having, how like Flood gives Mario new maneuvers in Super Mario Sunshine. This was not really something we had seen from a platformer on the N64. Like Mario was a lot of that game was just like using Mario's core techniques with occasional short power-ups. Banjo-Kazooie was basically like having some of those power-ups the entire time.
Well, and not really like the entire time is sort of misleading because you have to like learn each of Kazooie's moves.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Like that Banjo-Kazooie's moveset increases the more you play the game, and then in the second game they start with all of those moves and then get more, which is like another kind of cool wrinkle. And also like kind of backs away from the like kind of Metroid thing of like, here you start with all the powers, then they get stripped away.
To me, I think if we were counting them as one character, they'd
be number one, kind of no
number
question,
one.
Right?
But as separate, I will be interested to see where we end up ranking them.
Yeah.
Do you have like, I think maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I think everybody's favorite out of the two is going to be Banjo.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, because I do think of them as a unit. Kazooie's just mean to Banjo, and Banjo. Come on, Banjo's got that like that just like little guffaw where he's just like happy to see you, and he gives you a little thumbs up.
And it's not that birds are completely unlovable,
but birds may be completely unlovable.
Well, birds up against bears is like not much of a contest for most people. I know there are bird people, and I respect that.
Right,
but like,
look, we have an obvious mammalian bias, and I say we just embrace it.
Yeah.
And also, I think I'm going to put Drumstick way higher on this list than our bird anti-bias would suggest. He's a bird.
He's a bird.
So yeah, I suspect that even by himself, Banjo ends up at number one. But that's just what I suspect.
So we have Tip Top down here at the bottom.
Yes.
Of our top 10.
Who else goes at the bottom?
I think Bumper, because as much as I like the design of Bumper, there's just not much personality there.
Right. I will agree with that. So Bumper's going in at number 9. Then I think we need to address some of these, some of the Kongs that we have remaining. Chunky and Lanky.
So, do you...
I think I put Chunky next at number 8.
Before Conker. Or Kazooie. Because I think I might like Chunky more than I like Kazooie.
All right, let's put Kazooie next on here. At number 8. And then Chunky.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Because I think I do... Well, we were talking about Conker and like his, bad attitude persona. I find that trying, but I do think it's interesting that they did something with that character, and that is also not how he always appears. Like if Conker could, if they would have like continued making games with him, that he could have been like a mascot that adapts whatever persona they need. That's interesting.
I also like the idea that just like Conker is normally a super nice, chipper dude.
We just caught him on a bad fur day.
Exactly. Yeah, where like everything's going wrong for him. Just having a real tough time of it.
So let's put him next. Let's put him above Chunky Kong. What do you say? Or do you want him even higher?
Tentatively, I'm okay with that. I do have to say that like I don't have a lot of love in my heart for Lanky Kong. I don't really like, I don't really love any of the new Kongs that were introduced in DK64.
Except for Lanky Kong, of course.
The other one that I don't really feel strongly about, because I don't know that she's ever like left that much of an impression on me, is Joanna Dark.
Sure. So maybe Joanna Dark goes next, because I will go to bat for Lanky just because he is so weird.
So Lanky, as the name suggests, has very long arms.
I mean, first of all, it needs to be understood that he's like an orangutan, right? That like the rest of the monkeys that are like chimps and gorillas, and then he is an orangutan. Mm-hmm. He's the only one.
And if you've never played Donkey Kong 64, it's the way the game works basically is like there's like shared level spaces, and then a lot of times you have to change which Kong you are because they have different abilities in order to collect a certain number of bananas in order to like open up the next level. So it's a lot of like, you're not playing as Donkey Kong all the time. You're constantly switching between the Kongs because you need different abilities in order to complete the levels.
Right. And much to the game's detriment, a lot of their different abilities are like functionally the same, but they look different. Like they each have a separate musical instrument that they play. They each have guns, but different types of guns. So like Lanky Kong, I believe, shoots grapes, and like out of a blow dart gun. And so like the game will often have you like running up to something with a grape on it, and then be like, oh, I got to go get Lanky and have him do this, even though it's functionally the exact same as Diddy Kong shooting, peanuts at it. So I mean that's just a bummer about that game, and not necessarily a bummer about Lanky Kong.
So why, in that case, Lanky? What is it about Lanky that you like that leaves an impression on you?
It's the stretchy arms. For sure, the stretchy arms, and just the fact that he has that like the way he walks, right? He like throws. He's very like spidery. He's got like an arms first way of walking, and it's just like the most like expressly ridiculous of the Kong characters. Whereas like Chunky is just like a big dumb baby, which again they've done big dumb baby in the Kongs before.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So are we saying Joanna Dark and then Conker and then Lanky?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's hard to make an argument for... Look, I kind of want to put Joanna Dark above Conker only because I like her polite demeanor.
Okay, I'm fine with that. So we'll go after Chunky Kong, we go Conker. Right?
And then Joanna Dark.
And then Lanky.
And then Lanky.
All right, great.
Because on NCS, manners matter.
Manners matter. That means our top 3 rare characters of the Nintendo 64 era are
Drumstick,
Banjo, and Gruntilda.
I'm shaking my head, but at the same time, it feels right. If you're doubting us, look up a picture of Drumstick.
Yeah.
He is so... stupid.
Yeah, and if you don't immediately melt from his sheer coolness, you're a liar. So how does the top 3 shake out here for you, Mark?
I really like Gruntilda.
Okay.
I'm torn because Gruntilda and Banjo to me are kind of like the perfect form of this rare N64 aesthetic.
I agree.
I like Gruntilda because she's a little more down to earth and grungy. I can relate to Gruntilda a little bit more. Like Banjo would be at the gym next to me, and he's like loud on the machines while he's like pumping iron.
But he's jovial.
He is. He's very kind. He'll like wipe down the machine, help you, like show you how to use it if he sees you like looking at it because you're not sure.
Right. Like he'll initiate that contact.
But Gruntilda, if you need somebody to just order a pizza with, Gruntilda's not going to give you any judgment. Right?
See, I disagree on that. I think Gruntilda is going to judge everything you do, whether it's ordering a pizza or if you're like, I'm going to go to the gym, then she's going to be like, oh, you're just going to give you crap about that
Terrible roommate. Who would be, maybe this is a good litmus test, who would be the better roommate?
Oh, geez.
Because Gruntilda, she's probably not picking up after herself.
Yeah, but neither is Banjo.
Right.
It's like for opposite reasons, though. She's sloppy. Banjo doesn't care.
Right. He's like too cool. He's never had to do it before.
That's right.
Banjo lives in the bubble.
Banjo does live in the bubble, and Gruntilda also owns her own castle.
So you would be her roommate.
Yeah,
which is a whole like
that's also
thing. A whole other thing. Like, yeah.
And like the room you rent is nice, but you got to like swim in some like underground tunnels to get there.
Also, anytime you do something she doesn't like, she's like holding it over her head that she's a homeowner and like you're not.
Yeah.
She can kick you out at any time. Banjo, you're not going to run his credit check, but his parents will put down any deposit they have to.
That's right. They'll co-sign.
Yeah, they'll co-sign.
And Drumstick, I will never live with a drumstick again.
We've all lived with a drumstick. We've
all had that period where like we think like, I mean, yeah, he'll probably wreck some of my stuff and steal a girlfriend or two.
But like they're cool at work, they're like nice enough.
Here's what I think.
Okay.
I think Drumstick is our number 3.
Okay.
Because Banjo and Gruntilda are our number 1 and 2. I don't know what order yet.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Drumstick has come a long way, baby. So number 3 is pretty good.
All right. Banjo versus Gruntilda. Man,
this is hard.
This is tough.
Because it's like, who do I want to be friends with and who would I actually be friends with?
Well, and maybe we should take, let's assume that there's no universe where we can be friends with either of them.
Okay. It's a sad universe, but I understand what you're saying.
Right. Well, I mean, one of the things about being an adult is that you have to realize that you just can't be friends with, that there are some people you can't be friends with.
That's right.
Which of these two characters best represents Rare in the mid-90s?
I mean, when you put it that way, it's hard to argue against Banjo.
Yeah. And Banjo is also like the standard bearer that we see in like Coming to Smash, and is like part of the reason that I'm excited to talk about Rare stuff on a Nintendo show anyway is because of Banjo.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't really have any argument against that.
Gruntilda coming in at number 2 and Banjo at number 1.
Strong showing for Gruntilda.
Here is the lineup from 10 to 1. Coming in at number 10, Pip-Plup, because he's a turtle and I love him.
What did you call him?
I called him Tip-Plup. I think I combined Pip-Plup, the Pokemon, with Tip-Tup, the turtle. Tip-Tup, because he's a turtle and I love him. Bumper, because he's a badger.
He's cute.
Kazooie.
Just mean.
Just too mean. Also, like, banjo is an instrument. A kazoo, not an instrument. It's a weird noise maker.
Yeah, like banjo recorder, come talk to me.
Yeah, that's a different story. Banjo clarinet, sure. Do a Dixieland thing. I'm into it. Chunky Kong coming in at number 7. Number 6 is Conker. 5 is Joanna Dark. 4 is Lanky Kong. That's right, Lanky Kong coming in at number 4. Number 3, Drumstick. Number 2, Gruntilda. And Banjo coming in at number 1. Our favorite, the best, Rare character from the N64 era. Mark, did we do it?
I think we did it.
All right, great. Let's close this out. Okay, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. I feel like we had a couple of blind spots in here.
Yeah, for sure. I think so.
So if any of our listeners would like to illuminate those blind spots for us, please feel free to do so. Email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com and tell us where we went wrong.
Ooh. I mean, we're not wrong.
We're not wrong.
This list is, I think, definitive.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you do your own list and Drumstick is not in your top 3,
I would understand.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you like the episode, you can share it on all of your favorite Nintendo 64 forums or on Facebook or Twitter. On Twitter, I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at NinCart Society. The Facebook page is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying, let's nail down a personality for Conker, huh? Just one. And thanks for listening.
Campfire.